speaker is already a very integral part of the ASB community, and she serves as a role model for effective BIPOC mentorship in our field, Dr. Brooke Odle. She's an assistant professor of engineering at Hope College, an investigator at the Advanced Platform Technology Center, and a mentor to Hope College students who pursue engineering research. Her research focuses on biomechanics and assistive technology for people with disabilities. Dr. Odle will translate her expertise in mentoring with cultural competence into the context of biomechanics research and guide an interactive discussion on how we can improve STEM mentoring. So this is really the hands-on portion of today's workshop. So with that, we'll take it away, Brooke.
Thank you for that introduction. While I'm pulling up my slides, I just want you all to know that I have a very short presentation, and I will be introducing some topics and some different resources. Don't worry about writing them down or anything like that. You'll have an infographic shortly after the presentation that lists everything that I'm talking about. So I've titled this talk, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised. And it comes from the name of a song by Gil Scott-Heron. Now, it doesn't mean anything about a revolution that's not televised, but instead, what it refers to is a revolutionary change that starts from the outside in. And it's more of a call to action, to understand, to be engaged with, and to advocate for social change. And I want you to see how being a culturally competent mentor requires such a revolution as well. So the first thing that we want to start with, Gil Scott-Heron said that revolutionary change, first it begins in your mind, and you have to change your mind before you change the way that you live and the way that you move. So let's start with mindset. So let's say that you had this tomato plant, and this is what it looked like, and this is what you wanted it to look like. Well, you wouldn't blame your plant for its current condition. You would think about what you did and what was in the environment that could have contributed to the plant's current state. You may even consult some external resources, go online, look up more information about the plant. Basically, you would do what you needed to do to get that plant to thrive as you expected. In her book, Lessons from Plants, Dr. Beronda Montgomery describes how we can learn to care for others based on how we know how to care about plants. And in her work and in the work of many other scholars, it's noted that students, particularly those who come from historically excluded backgrounds, when they're not doing well academically in their programs, all of their flaws and faults seem to become the focus, as opposed to what mentors are doing or what is in their environment that is contributing to this perceived lack of success. And so they're often met with deficit-based mindsets. Instead, she recommends using inquiry-based approaches and having a growth-based mindset for each mentee. She also posits that mentors are both caretakers and environmental stewards. So I want to take this idea of being a caretaker and connect it to Scott-Heron's idea that you have to change how you live. So again, as a mentor, you're a caretaker, you're using these inquiry-based approaches, and you use a growth mindset to develop a holistic approach for each mentee that you have. So one tool that can help you do this is the Mentor Mirror, which was developed by Dr. Renetta Tull. She refers to it as a reverse individual development plan for mentors. Now, what this allows you to do is it allows you to reflect on what you are doing for each of your mentees and how you are meeting their individual mentoring goals. Another resource at your disposal is the book Success Strategies from Women in STEM by Peggy Pritchard and Dr. Christine Grant. There's a chapter on mentoring, and it mentions how to manage and maintain your mentoring relationships. Okay, so we've challenged our mindset, challenging the way that we live. Now we have to change the way that we move, which brings us to that role of the environmental steward. And so in this role, your job is to understand and identify what in your environment, or in many of your cases, your institution, is positively or negatively impacting success students. And then to use that to make adjustments. In her book, Black, Brown, Bruised, How Racialized STEM Education Stifles Innovation, Dr. Ebony McGee lays out some research on the best practices for mentoring programs and attributes of mentors where students from historically excluded backgrounds tend to be more successful. Now, I've just listed just a few here, just to give you an example, but in general, students do well when their mentors and campus resources and programs acknowledge their struggles, value their knowledge and their STEM identities, and review the hidden curriculum, meaning the unwritten rules and expectations of the institution's dominant culture. And she has advice for early career faculty and what they need if they are from historically excluded backgrounds. So they pretty much need the same thing that undergraduate and graduate students need, but they also need political guidance, inclusion in grant writing opportunities, and getting feedback on their scholarly writing. They also need mentors and sponsors who are going to challenge institutional politics on their behalf. And now I know that we do have some students here, so I just wanted to encourage you. If you don't have a culturally competent mentor, then I totally understand that your academic journey may seem daunting, but I want you to be encouraged and to be proactive. Dr. Montgomery discusses how you too can learn from plants once you know who you are, where you are, and what you are supposed to be doing. So basically, this means that you need to embrace all of your identities. And you need to do whatever you can to figure out what you need to do to be successful in your program. Once you do that, then you can identify resources and support systems internally and externally that are set up for your success. So you may also find Pritchard and Grant's book, a helpful external resource, as well as the internal mentoring programs offered by ASB and the new one that BBA is launching with Latinx and Biomechanics. And I know this may seem like a lot, so I want to further encourage you with a quote from the late rapper and actor Tupac Shakur. And it's crazy. It seems it'll never let up, but you got to keep your head up. So I just want to give you a quick overview before we go into our interactive session. So now what I want you to do is build these skills. Whether you're a student, you're going to focus on being a navigator. If you're a mentor, you're going to focus on being a caretaker and environmental steward. And you'll go into breakout groups to discuss these and enter your highlights of your discussions into the Padlet. And we'll have the link to the Padlet available to you shortly after the workshop, so you can review those responses throughout the year. Welcome back, everyone. I just wanted to thank you again for your participation in our workshop today. And I do want to remind you, right, that the revolution will not be televised, right? It is a call to action. So our charge to you today is to think about those ideas that you've discussed in your groups and take them back to your labs and to your institutions and institute them, as well as working with us and ASB to help make some changes in ASB to improve mentoring for all of our members. And I do want to remind you that we do have a social Thursday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Come join us, learn a little bit more about us, and mingle with our members. We're going to do a soft launch of a internal mentoring program that we're starting for BBA and Latinx and biomechanics members. We can always use more mentors. So I will turn everything back over to Matt, Kayla, and Erica to close us out. Thank you.
Great. And with that, I just want to say thanks to everybody who was involved and who came and were educated and energized by the workshop. I wish, like everybody, that we had a little bit more time, and apologize for the technical difficulties here. But we will keep continuing these conversations. Like Brooke mentioned, we'll have the information and the resources that were discussed in both talks in a format for everyone, and we will also share the Padlet link. All of our connections are on the screen for you if you want to know how you can help us out. We have an email, we have a link tree with all of our information. We are on social media, on Twitter and on Instagram. And in the spirit of actionable change, we really encourage you to join our efforts, become a part of the Black Biomechanists Association, so we can start uplifting Black scientists and diversify biomechanics more. The membership link is in our link tree. It's a free membership to join, and we welcome everybody, allies included. And with that, I'll just say thanks to ASB also for providing us this space for the organization to have this event opportunity for this really impactful work. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of the diverse enrichment events that are going on in this conference. Thanks, everyone.